Kevin, any consistent dripping is following ramp, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically picking a different select group. It doesn't change the fact that you have a top 50. I don't have a top 50. I don't. Yes, you do, because top 50s aren't based only on where you are geographically. They're based on your knowledge of people. And, Selena is pretty darn good at coaching on the top 50. So it's really a matter of consistent dripping, whether it be phone calls. There's a lot of lessons in here that I coach mostly brokerages now, and they want to think that because they own a brokerage that the programs don't apply to them. And I was talking to the entire company of one of these brokerages I coached the other day, and like it was evident that they really all needed to launch a top 50 initiative, right? And I'm like, look, you're the owner of the brokerage. Your brokerage and the agents have the right to use the top 50 initiative. I mean, you can just share that with them. So, yeah.
So I'm kicking butt then.
Yes, you are actually. So. So anyway, that's the main thing, is that the most important thing is that when we often get I think we all get wrapped up more into what we're not doing and what's not working, as opposed to paying attention what does and doing more of it. Or another problem is doing stuff that would work if you did more of it and then quitting too early. When Gary Keller wrote the book, The MREA, or The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, he talked about that for you to do consistent farming, it's going to take between 24 and 30 months before it hits, meaning where they're getting at least one touch every single month for 24 to 30 months. And if you're not willing to commit to that, then don't go bitching to anybody that it didn't work, right? And then he said, gosh, what if you did a postcard or a flyer once a month, and then in addition, you happen to door knock once a month? Well, now you're doing twice a month, which could essentially cut the time in half that it took to create a consistent amount of business and a good ROI. So there's a lot to be said about just understanding what the statistics prove. This guy that did our Free Friday coaching call last week was, in my opinion, incredible. The one that did this, doors open when you knock. And he talked about, how he just had conversations with people. And during the conversations, they would mention that, oh, we would never leave this house before our kids all graduated. And he said, to me, that was you telling me when I should be asking about selling your home.
Hey, Rick.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, that was my thought.
So you weren't on the workman call this morning when we first jumped on, but somebody gave a door knocking when it wasn't within our group, but Anthony Margulies out in California happened to be friends with the broker who just listed Ben Affleck's house.
Wow.
And so he called him up and he said, I have to ask you, how did you get this listing? He door knocked it. He door knocked it and immediately.
What? That's so crazy.
Immediately built rapport and he got the listing. Crazy.
That's fucking awesome.
Wait.
That was with Ben Affleck?
Yeah, but Ben Affleck.
Where was his house? Where's this house for sale?
I don't know. You'd have to call Anthony Margulies. So he's the one who called the listing agent because I guess he knows him and asked how he got the listing.
Oh, then it would be in Southern California. It's in the LA area. Okay.
Hollywood.
Yeah, well, most of
Door
those guys
knocking.
don't live in Hollywood. They live in Pacific Palisades or Malibu or those areas. But yeah.
Door
The
knocking.
hills.
Who knew? I'm gonna go knock on some movie. Actually, John Cougar Mellencamp lives on the same island I live on. I should go knock on his door.
And why doesn't Ben Affleck have a gate?
Yeah, that's what I was like. How did you get there?
Go, Selena.
Well, even if you have a gate, there's a button.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. So anyway.
Well, this Sunday we ran into Angie Harmon at a gun show in Little Podunk, Crossville, Tennessee.
Angie
So-
Harmon. Why do I know that name? That isn't she the hot chick?
She's pretty hot. She's still
Yeah.
hot.
She
Yeah,
was
she
married
was on.
to, wasn't she married to a former tight end or something?
I believe so, but she was on. She's Rosalia of Rosalia and Isles, and she was
Yes,
on Law and Order. Tall.
yes.
Yeah,
Brunette. Oh my God, I had the hots for her
yeah,
for years.
Oh yeah, she's gorgeous.
yeah.
Yeah.
Try running into her at a gun show in Crossville. I mean, it was kind of like, what are all the men looking at? Oh, there she is.
Yeah, good. That's awesome. Mr. James Wotring, how are you, sir?
Doing excellent. It's going to be pretty embarrassing the comment I'm about to make, but
It's okay.
I
I'll
have to
work.
ask what week we are in because I've missed several weeks because it's just been all over the map.
There's 10 of them.
Okay. So
That's
we're on
okay.
week 10. Okay.
Well, that's okay. The main thing is that you coming back is that's a big statement, right? It doesn't, we don't talk every week about, oh, this is week 10. What'd you do in week 10? It's what are you doing, period, right?
Yeah.
Like Kevin was just saying, oh, I haven't been really doing RAMP. I've been doing my probate mailings. Well, consistent mailings is part of RAMP if that's your choice of way to do things versus consistent phone calls or,
Well,
things
I
like
made
that.
as I was talking to you before privately, Rick, that I was making big changes in my business. I switched companies, came to EXP. I was doing a lot of different things. And then all of a sudden, my business, as I started to put the pedal down, it exploded and ended up with like 5 escrows all at the same time. Everything was just running.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I got multiple clients again. So things are just moving right along. The market seems to have picked back up again. And
I think it's you picked back up again.
I think so too. And
Yeah, it really is, guys. The more we do activities, I just did it on.
Dude, I did an open house. I door knocked the community, did an open house. I did it back to back 2 weekends.
Yeah.
It wasn't even my listing. Landed a cash buyer, closed it in 12 days.
Oh, close the
And I have
open
all
house.
the people in that community that came to the open house. It was a condo complex. And so they all came to it and I put them into my CRM and they're being dripped upon. And I'm actually thinking about doing some events because you can rent out their common area for $50. And then I'm gonna put on an event to bring them in and maybe do something every quarter because that in Alhambra, that's like a highly sought after community because it's a very low price to be in that area. So
That's
trying to
amazing.
make a name for myself in there.
Nice.
Alhambra,
Well-
so the Sacramento area.
No, Southern California.
San Gabriel
Oh.
it's LA County, San Gabriel
Oh,
Valley.
okay.
Yeah. So I want to show you sort of, James, what this is something to me that happens. So I'm going to pull it up and share my screen with you. Hold on real quick. I'm just trying to pull it up. Here we go. Okay, hold on. God, there's so many pop-ups. Can't even just go look at a site. Okay. So William H. Murray, this is a very popular quote. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. And concerning all acts of initiative and creation, and by the way, lead generation is an act of initiative. That's just my own little humble input there. There is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. Now, the reason I think that's such a big deal is James, he walked away.
Sorry, I can't help but laugh.
I know, well, yeah. James, can you hear me from
We
where
lost
you
him.
walked away? I know he's on mute, so even if he yelled that he could hear me. So, but I didn't think he had a headset in, so I'm probably bellowing throughout his household right now. But anyway, for all of us on here, that means that when you do things here, there's probably going to be business coming from over here and all of these just because you're out doing acts of initiative. And you're rewarded with rewards that come from different areas than where you're then where you're executing these acts of initiative. How much of that did you hear, James, sorry.
Sorry, my dog started whining and I was afraid she maybe had to go out and didn't want a situation, but my family was home, so that's why.
Okay, yeah, so all I was saying, did you hear the quote or that I was talking about that I showed?
He was
the
talking
screen?
about taking initiative and action of it.
Yeah, and that you start getting rewards. So you took initiative, you held an open house, and all of a sudden you sold it cash, right? With a cash buyer. Your idea of holding it open was, of course, oh man, I'd love to pick up a client, but who would have dreamed that you pick up a cash buyer, close it, the actual home that you were holding it open. So
Yep.
yeah. What's that, Kevin? What did you say? I'm going to a broker open for an experience to meet her and to property
Boost
boost
her.
her. She's
Yes.
gonna let you boost her $5 million listing on your KV Core. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Good.
So that's
So-
what I do. And also to my postcards is I go meet local EXP agents and ask to boost their properties.
Yeah.
Why
Um,
don't you go to other than EXP agents, open house and ask to boost their property and recruit them so you get a 2-for-1?
Well, I do, as a matter of fact.
Okay, because that's what I do.
Yeah,
Just wondering.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
you boost their properties on Facebook or Instagram or what?
KV,
Yeah, through KV Core, I use the property boost program in KV Core because it's fantastic. So it's like $60 for a week and you get about 10 to 12 leads from it. So it's the best $60 for leads I've found.
nice. $60 for 10 to 12 leads. I do that all day long. Selena, remind me to talk about that.
Making a note.
I don't even recognize Selena.
Why?
Why? Because she's so beautiful.
No, she has her hair up.
Oh,
back.
yeah.
I'm like, well, did she chop it off? Wow.
No, she has been on Zooms for about 6 hours now, haven't you? Maybe 7. Of course, she's on the East Coast, so she started
Bright and early.
Friday Zoom day. And Selena has control of my calendar, so surprisingly, there's open space in my calendar for me to catch up on all the duties that Selena and my wife Casey are overseeing that I have not completed. So
Look at Kevin. Kevin's
Yeah.
like, thank God Selena doesn't have access to my calendar.
oh yeah, and I am like way behind on several things. We're using Trello, and my team doesn't believe I would use it. I've been using it really. It's so cool.
Miss Sherry, I got Sherry on it.
Did you?
Oh
Yeah.
my God, it's a life changer.
Isn't it a life changer?
Oh
Sherry?
my
I mean,
God.
yeah. So
I've been
Uh,
Selena, like a week and something, and I gotta tell you, that thing is awesome.
yeah, let me, I'm not gonna, I'll show you guys what mine looks like for my listing pipeline. And there's about 5 or 6 listings I'm working on right now that aren't in here, but this is so cool how they listing leads, listing appointments, pre-listing status, active, pending, contingency periods met, closed, legend, and then our legend for everything. This is the greatest thing ever, and you can have as many of these boards as you need. I think there's a certain amount of limit to the numbers you can do as a for
Free.
the
Yeah, I think it's
free
10.
account. But yeah, but I don't need freaking 10 boards, that's for sure.
Barely get you to use 2.
I'm using 3, right? Aren't we using
Yeah.
3?
We are, yeah.
Yeah. So, and the 3 are for different things like agent attraction, and then keeping track of FLAs and FLQAs, and of course, listing. And we don't need it for our buyer side because that's in Lead Tracker. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, so who wants to talk about what week 10 was about, or who knows what week 10 was about?
That was all CRM stuff.
Yeah, and the main thing is that they do a good job of, when we did the AMP program, a lot of it was based on Top Producer and those kinds of programs. But the idea is the same, is that you have a CRM, that you keep it updated, and that you're doing those kinds of activities. I always, even at week 10, I'm asking people, is your business plan workbook done? Right? Is it completely filled out? And the reason I like it is because that's one of the most basic things for moving forward. And we will be doing, Selena and I will be collaborating on some, I'm kind of redoing my, what's the term I want to say? Oh, the way I'm going to do the business plan workbook classes now, such that you will fill it out and be finished with it by the time we're done. And I can't do all day Zoom classes to make that happen, but I think we can execute it in a few hours for sure. So maybe a 3-hour business planning clinic or something like that, where you actually go through, put your big, hairy, audacious goal down for net income at the end of the year, and then filling it out from there, getting all the way down to the number of appointments it's going to take you, buyer and seller appointments, to get what you want in life out of the year. And that it would be a combination of a Workman Success Systems business planning clinic and things I've learned from Keller Williams, Remax, Coldwell Banker, all the other companies I've taught for. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, Selena doesn't build your Trello. She just suggests that you use Trello there, Mr. Lazy Kevin Scott.
I can show you how to use it. but
Yeah,
yes,
she
you
can
build
show you
your own.
how to. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, she showed me how to use it. I had
It's-
tried
it's
doing
not
it.
how, it's who.
Yeah, that's right. Who, not how, right? That's from Dr. Benjamin Hardy. But but I did attempt to start using Trello almost a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when Glenn Sanford talked about it. And then when I got in there, I was like, holy cow, I don't speak this language. Well, when then Selena showed me how, I'm like, oh, that's easy. Somebody else had to show me then.
Well, most agents do really well with it. Don't take this the wrong way, those of you with high eyes, but it's pretty and it's colorful, and that tends to draw your eye to it and make you more likely to use it than a spreadsheet. So I think that was the basics behind using it. So
Yeah. All right. So that I don't have like tons of stuff to kind of stay on with you about today. I wanted to make sure that the one thing that I'm trying to incorporate into my life myself is the greatest salesman in the world, Og Mandino. I like to have it. You wouldn't know that because I have so many copies of it, and this morning I couldn't find one copy of it. It's here somewhere. It's going to show up there. Yeah, there it is. Mine's with Selena. She took it last time she was here. I know you didn't, Selena, but I'm still stumped as to where mine is. What is our scroll for today, Selena?
I will be the master of my emotions.
Really? Oh, we didn't do that last time? Why did I keep thinking we've done that?
Nope. I can read it. I'm happy to read it.
Okay, let me see. Where is it? Oh, quotes of the day. Okay, do you want to read an excerpt from it, not the whole thing?
You don't want me to read all those pages? Of course, I'll only read an
No.
excerpt. Okay, I'm going to skip to the part I think is more relevant.
Okay.
Today, I will be the master of my emotions. It is one of nature's tricks, little understood, that each day I awaken with moods that have changed from yesterday. Yesterday's joy will become today's sadness, yet today's sadness will grow into tomorrow's joy. Inside me is a wheel, constantly turning from sadness to joy, from exultation to depression, from happiness to melancholy. Like the flowers, today's full bloom of joy will fade and wither into despondency. Yet I will remember that as today's dead flower carries the seed of tomorrow's bloom, so too does today's sadness carry the seed of tomorrow's joy. Today, I will be the master of my emotions. Anybody ever wake up super cranky?
Never. Only Selena accused me of that yesterday.
I did.
Why are you so cranky?
He was cranky.
It was just my face. It wasn't the rest of me.
Is that your RBF?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was
Anyone ever-
it was TBF. It was tired bitch face, not
Oh.
rested bitch face, resting bitch face. So
This is one of my absolute favorite scrolls. because I really think that how you start your day out can really change everything. And like even last week, some of you know I was dealing with a lot of stuff with my mom, and I was like, I'm going to go into the next week and I'm just going to be in a really great mood. And so I actually put the first thing on my calendar every morning after I drop my son off. Now it says master my mojo. That's the first thing on my calendar. And it's like, I sit down, I have my cup of coffee, I look at my calendar, and I kind of get into the emotionality of where I want to be energy wise.
Yeah.
Anybody else does anybody have a routine that helps you master that emotion in the morning? Anybody doing it now? Sherry?
I'm actually doing,
Yeah,
similar
definitely.
but opposite.
Oh, well, you're doing the polar opposite. What do you mean?
I'm doing more the Mel Robbins thing. Instead of being in the emotion, I'm doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move your
Love
butt.
that.
So trying to get out of the emotion kept me where I was. So I'm actually letting that part go and going into just plain action, and who cares what mood you're in, just move it.
I love that. I love that. Sherry, I actually just gave that advice to my now new 6th grader who was struggling with having to get up an hour earlier for school. And he is now doing it. Like the alarm goes off and he goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and up he pops right out of bed. So very, very effective. Tom, you were going to say something. He came off mute for a moment. Oh, there he is. Nope. Back.
Sorry, trying to get myself off mute. Yeah, Sherry, that's awesome. I do the Mel Robbins 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as well. It's fantastic. Our emotions are, man, unpredictable to say the least, but I think it's safe to say that the sign of a leader is being able to lead yourself. And one of the keys to be able to do that is to master your emotions, which, is a constant struggle for me, being a high D and a high I. It's like, what the hell's wrong with you? So self-talk is important. What do you say when you talk to yourself? Chad Helmstetter is a great book for that as well. But yeah, the morning routine is really important because once you get in a habit, in the book, the one thing Gary Keller talks about, Michael Phelps, and he uses him as a great example. I mean, the man's accolades and awards speak for themselves. If he were a country, he'd be like, I don't know, 8th or 12th or whatever the number is. I mean, point is, everyone thinks he's super disciplined. And in the book, his coach says he's not at all disciplined. He's just developed really great habits. And once you develop a habit, you don't have to be disciplined anymore because a habit takes over. And it's kind of like just being an autopilot. So the great thing about having a morning routine is that you can develop habits very similar to Michael Phelps. And you can you can be the Michael Phelps of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish just by creating better habits. So even in saying that, I'm reinforcing my own habits, which some need to go and some need to I just need it. I'm in some areas of my life, I show up as the 800-pound gorilla. In other areas of the bus, it's a train wreck. So I'm like, how do we have less train wreck and more 800-pound gorilla? So, and I know that doing the habits is the key. So time blocking, lead gen, all that stuff.
Love that, Tom. Love that. I think the other thing to think about whenever you're reading this chapter in particular is it can be felt, your emotion at that moment. And unless you're an incredibly good actor, if you are in a bad headspace when you are making lead gen calls, that comes through, right? And it's like the people who are closest to you know whenever you're not in a good headspace, but I think it does come through. So if you start your day off, or even midday, something bad happens, right? And it throws you off, you have to master that emotion to still come across, because you have seconds to build rapport with someone on the phone. So you have to master it to be able to continue to serve the way that we want to serve. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, all of us are going to experience it, even if you say you don't. Like I like to say, oh, I'm always in a good mood. And Casey even compliments me as my wife, who sees me in all moods, that I pretty much have this 95% of the time I'm happy-go-lucky. Things roll off my back. But then she says there's that 5% of time where I turn into AA, which stands for Angry Arab. And she does not like that 5% of the time. And it's really not all necessarily pointed at her or anybody in particular, but just at the frustration of the moment. And being that I fight a lot of blood pressure issues and have for years, she goes, is there any reason why that you have to be doing the Angry Arab right now? I'm sure that's bringing up your blood pressure several points, but yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, Ophelia's making a visit.
Yeah.
So just a quick tip, a trick that I do for myself if I'm not in the mood for making calls and stuff,
Yeah.
when I go to make my calls, I'll turn my camera on so that I can see myself while I'm making the call, because then I can see how I'm presenting. And then I'm like, oh, I have to smile and be all, so it's like, oh, I'm here. And then I can turn the camera off because it brings that energy. But if, so if I'm really not feeling it, I'll turn the camera on and be like, okay, somebody's watching, even if it's just me. And I'm
Yeah.
a Gemini, there's 2 of me, it's all good.
We used to
Yeah.
put mirrors in front of all of the Legion spaces in the office so that people could start with a smile. So that's one thing. And a lot of people tend to have some sort of jam they start with, right? That's your music that you do in the morning, whatever that is, that gets you in a great mood.
Yeah.
Wow, Rick, I've never heard of the Angry Arab. I
Are
had
you-
no idea that you
I've
deal
seen
with
it.
anger issues. I
Yeah.
thought you were
Selena,
just happy all the time.
yeah, Selena's seen it. People that, that see me at home, like Selena has come out 2 or 3 times so
Couple
far.
times, yeah.
Yeah. And stayed at the house. So, I'm not, it's like when I see those stupid reality shows, I go, yeah, like you don't even know there's a camera on you. Well, like Selena's like the camera. I know she's there and I still become a dickhead. So,
So, Rick, what is your go-to tool to calm the angry Arab and let the dickhead go outside and become the amazing leader, Rick Jihad, that we all know and love?
well, for me, it's the realization that what I'm being an angry Arab about is in almost every single case is something I have no control over. Like something that I cannot change. Even if I want it changed, it's not in my power to change it. I can't change the way people think. I can't change what I call the stupidity in the moment, which is really, truly, when I think about it, it's that person doing the best they know how to do. And to me, I feel like they, quote unquote, and I hate shooting all over people, but I feel like they should know better. But it's not up to you to determine what they should know better about. It's really that. It's the frustration of people not stepping up to the potential that they all have. And that really, really frustrates me in the moment a lot of the time. So, and I have a large team now. Like this is the largest team I've ever run in 42 years. I have 10 people, 11 counting admin and everything, 11 people on the team. And, Selena has really shined a big, bright light on where there are opportunities for growth. And it's both excited me out of my mind and it's frustrated me all at the same time. So,
He cries a little.
yeah. Yeah, it's the let's pick on Rick Jihad hour called Ramp 22. So, yeah, that's why I got all these butterflies, Tom, to make me feel better. See them?
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I think my last takeaway from that is like, it's really hard to be productive when you're in a bad headspace. And I think it's just a matter of like deciding what that is. Sherry, I love that you're using Mel Robbins to do it. And if that is what is instinctual for you to get you out of it and move forward, I think that's great. Sometimes people just need to take a walk. Like for me, if I'm truly having a terrible time, I get in the golf cart and I drive down and look at the water. It's 7 minutes in that direction. And then I may only be there for 5 minutes, but for whatever reason, that's a reset, and then come right back. So just figure out what your reset is.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Yeah, you got to have that. And it helps to have somebody remind you that, like Casey reminding me that I'm being AA. I think that's what helps you snap out of it, because when you're in it on your own, you really do need help realizing that you're in your shit. So, yeah.
Any other shares today? Quiet. You're all quiet today.
Yeah. All right.
James is coming back on video. Did you have something to share? I pick on people. I'm sorry. It's hard.
That's all right. My daughter was in here torturing me, so she's almost 4, so.
Sure, she's a master torturer at Thor.
Oh yeah, I didn't want you to see me get all crazy and be like, stop touching everything.
Yeah. All right. Well, James, it was very good to hear about what's going positive for you, because I know that was a frustration at the beginning of this ramp this year. That
Mhm.
you were pretty frustrated, but the thing about someone like you is you know what to do, and when you do them, shit happens, and you're like, oh, look, it happens, and it works so well. Why not stop doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's yeah, Sherry, me too. Or like, oh, it's working really well.
But I also, so what I did was too, is I took out and I took my CRM, I partnered up with the lender. They had several members on their team. And so we turned on lead generation to come back in as well. I have a VA that's starting on Monday. So, and then me and my team, I have 2 people, which one of them right now is out with COVID, unfortunately. But we're going to be sitting down next Wednesday, meeting with 3 other people that might possibly want to join up. So I have like all these people, the leads coming in, and they're doing a round robin. And the way we have it set up is to be 7 touches from each person, from like one of the agents, the VA, and the lender. So it's 21 touches, not including all the drip campaigns from the CRM. And we're getting ready to introduce things of value, like 7 tips when you're out home shopping, things like that people are going to get emails and text messages for, to get them to click on stuff and nurture them. But the 21 touches for phone calls is to get them on the phone in 10 days, 10 to 14 days.
We
So-
call that the 10 days of paying.
Yeah.
But it's not just me though, or it's not just the agents. It's going to be a slew of people. It's the virtual assistant in the morning, the lenders at noon, and then my team in the afternoon. So throughout the day, the people get different calls. Yeah. So that way I never have to slow down again, Rick.
Yeah. Good for you, James. Good to hear that. All right. Any last minute things before we let everyone go? We are going into week 11. We only have 12 weeks. So it's, it's definitely a time to, get religious about getting through the program. We will have a few weeks off after it, and then we will be starting SLAM, SLAM, which is Seller Listing Agent Mastery. That's only a 6-week program, but the weeks are similar to RAMP in that some of them have 10, 12 or more videos, and some of them have only 3 or 4 videos in the weeks. But this will execute, and you will become a great listing agent following that along. So, okay.
So Rick, I have a question.
Yeah, buddy.
If I know this probably doesn't apply to anybody else here, but if you happen to be behind, I've heard that some people get behind in these
Yeah.
classes. So if you happen to be behind, or may have heard of someone that's behind,
Yeah.
how do you recommend catching up? Is it should you just like start on week 10, or just kind of just try to muscle through and get through as many as you can and try to get just
I don't
do you
think the
recommend?
week number matters. I think you go back to where you left off and pick up there. I think more than anything, the downloads and the homework assignments are critical. And the main thing is, it was like, I took a coaching program once back in 2009, and it was a 90-day coaching program. And they said, they kept driving to the point, where will you be on day 91? And as you got closer to day 90 and realized that a lot of these big, hairy, audacious goals that you set for yourself were not going to come true by day 90. And did you drop the goal all of a sudden? Did you say, well, now it's no longer a goal because day 90 came and went? No, what they got you to understand is, when will be day 91 for you? And one of my big goals had something to do with Casey. I was dating Casey at the time, and it had to do with us moving in together. And we moved in together at about day 160 something after that program started. And we had a saying that we'd call and say, hey, on my goal to move in and live with Casey Council, I just hit my day 91. And your day 91 meant that you had accomplished the goal that you set for 90 days, but it didn't happen in 90 days. It's the same with this. It's a 12-week program, but if you executed the whole program in 24 weeks, you still executed the program, right? So it's about not paying attention to what you didn't do. It's giving kudos and credence for what you did do in the time you did it. And if you do all the homework assignments, get the downloads, use them for their proposed purpose, then you'll do very well, very well. So, does that make sense, Tom? Does that actually answer the question?
Oh yeah, it does totally. Yeah. It's easy to get down on yourself when you're behind. Like, damn it, I'm behind, and you feel like you're playing catch up. But it's you know, I appreciate what you said. Even if it takes you 24 weeks to go through a 12-week program, okay,
Yeah.
so what? It is what it is, and you know, it's just making it a priority. And when you, just like going to the gym, you get it in somehow, and it's going to benefit you whether you do it first thing in the morning, at noon, or at night. Just
Right.
find a way to get it done. Just make it a priority. So I'm just building it into my schedule.
Yeah. Yep.
Tom, I'm
Yeah.
gonna speak your language for 1 second. Jump out of the gap. Jump into the game. You're in the
Thank you.
gap. You're in
Thank
the
you,
gap.
Selena. Yeah, I that language I'm using a lot with Kelly. Kelly, my new fiance, and I, we remind each other a lot that we're
Good.
in the gap. And
Hey,
focus on the
Tom.
game.
Hey, Tom. Yeah, I ran into the exact same problem what you're speaking of. I've missed, I think, like the last 3 weeks in total. I've missed about 4 or 4.5 weeks. So, and I haven't done all the videos, but my first thought today was like, man, I haven't been here. I need to get back into it. I'm just going to rip off the Band-Aid, tell everybody I'm back, and admit what I did, that I didn't follow up, and just start from today and do what I can and not beat myself up on what I didn't do, and just continue to do the process.
So I'll do my confession too, guys. This is my 3rd time through ramp, and I'm finally going to finish it. So there you go. So this isn't my first time through. So there you go. Making it to the end this time.
Good
Yep.
job, Sherry.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. Thank you guys for sharing. I think it's important that we all hear what's going on. And this normally happens. Like, I don't know if you remember our first 2 calls for ramp, we had something like 30 people on, 25 or so. And now we're down to 4 of us, you know, not counting me and Selena. So it's an indication of what happens. People begin to feel embarrassed. And really, this call is for you to plug in and do what you can when you can, or to remind you what to go back. Tom, I think you asked the best question ever. What about, you know, asking for a friend, right? Asking for a friend, what happens when you get behind? So, yeah, good for you.
Yeah, that really was asking for a friend, Rick. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I know, you're so good to be thinking about them, right?
I'm always thinking of my friends.
Yeah,
And this one friend in particular, I know really well. We're like really close, and it's almost like I can tell what he's thinking too. It's crazy.
yeah. I have friends like that too. All right. Okay,
Thanks,
well,
Rick.
we'll let you go. Selena, thanks for popping on. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thanks, Selena.
No
Thanks, Rick.
problem. Bye, guys.